Glazers out, Glazers out, Glazers out. Glazers out, Glazers out, Glazers out. Glazers out, Glazers out, Glazers out. Glazers out, Glazers out. Piss off, Glazers. Piss off, Glazers. What's going on, everybody? It's the Flying Pig on Flying Pig United with another little video for you. Just a live stream to talk about and discuss the latest news in regards to a potential takeover of Manchester United, with bids and offers supposedly being tabled by 10 p.m. tonight. This is hopefully deadline day in regards to bids coming in for Manchester United. So hopefully there will be a quick sale of this football club. We're going to get into all the rest of it and all the latest news and goings on and happenings in this video. So strap yourselves in, baby. But do us a favour at the start of this stream. Smash that like on it. Hit the thumbs up. Don't be watching this stream without twatting that like button, guys. Hit the thumbs up. Share it around on social media. We've pinned the tweet to the top of live chat. Every little retweet that people do on Twitter helps this channel and helps us spread the word. So go over to Twitter, give us a retweet, give us a follow, and get yourself involved throughout the show, of course. We always have a Q&A at the end of the stream, but get yourself in the chat throughout. We will be dipping in and out of it, seeing what you guys have got to say for yourselves. But yes, like, subscribe, comment, get yourself in there, and let's be having you. We're going to cover all the latest news now. I want to say thank you to everyone for getting in for today's stream, and sorry to keep you waiting a few mins, but we've got OG in here. What's happening? And Nikolai Lindquist, Matthew Smith, thanks for the super sticker right at the start of the show, by the way. I hope you have a great day. Footy Gaffer, we've got Gungshi's in here. What's going on, you Raw legend? Nath Alanazi and Pal Marius, VK Dean, Chop Sensei, T Mill, Darb. We've got Jim Watkins, VK Dean, the Cake Cadets in here, Bernie the Bolt, Pal Marius, Mark, Jim, Vincent, FJT, VK, and everybody else, Dave, and everybody else as well. Thanks for being here. Appreciate you guys. So we could be seeing the back of these Glazer shithouses anytime soon. So the latest situation is there's expected to be several bids tabled by end of play today, as reported by various different outlets, some of them less reputable than others. But, you know, there are a lot of different reports come out to say that the Rain Group have set a deadline of, I think, 10 p.m. UK time tonight, which is like 5 p.m. New York time or something like that, in regards to getting offers on the table. And then they will go through these offers and decide which is the best fit for their clients, aka the Glazer shithouses. And when we say best fit, I don't think they really give a shit, to be honest. I think they just want the most money. So that's what that means. Best fit means most money, probably, for the Glazer shithouses. So we will hopefully know sooner rather than later what sort of direction this football club's going in with new owners. There's a different bunch of potential new owners that we could see come in. We know that Sir Jim Ratcliffe is interested. We know that there's interest from Saudi Arabia, from the USA, various different companies or individuals reportedly interested from the USA. Dubai, not Dubai, Qatar. Qatar interested very much so in owning Manchester United as well. So there's a few different avenues we could go down. I think all of these avenues that we could explore with new owners are much better than the current regime, because we know what we're getting with the current regime. Don't know if you can see the thumbnail. Doesn't that guy's face just piss you off? The Glazers are a disgrace. So the sooner we get those guys out. I mean, I actually saw a graph the other day. Unfortunately, I don't have it for you right now. But there was a graph the other day over the last 15 years of spending from chairman, essentially money put into the football club from outside sources. Now, we moan about City and Chelsea and all these scumbags just spending money willy-nilly. We do moan about that a little bit. But you can't deny that these teams over the years, you know, Roman Abramovich putting money into their club like a complete mad sugar daddy, or Man City's owners, they've put billions into those football clubs from exterior sources, rightly or wrongly, but they have spent a shitload of cash trying to develop their football team to get them better, right? They actually put money, they've actually taken money from their own coffers and put it into the football club. I'm not saying that's right, but if you actually compare that with what our owners have done, we are like 20th, or we are right at the bottom of the league in terms of English football clubs, and our owners putting their own money into the football club. We're the worst in the league when it comes to them putting their own money into the football club. So they don't care about Manchester United. They see it just as a milking business for them to get that money from this club. So that's how it really is. That's the reality. We don't have any owners who have invested in this club at all. They've just basically spent money that this club generates whilst at the same time servicing debts and taking money out for their own needs. And they haven't invested anything over that period of time really from their own coffers, which is an absolute disgrace. The potential new owner who could be coming in, let's just say it is a Qatari investor or an investment group here that is going to buy this, and reportedly these people worth hundreds of millions of dollars, hundreds of billions of dollars, I should say. You would think that they'd be prepared to put money into this football club straight away. So it's one thing to buy us for 4.5 or 5 billion, but this club is a fixer-upper. It needs a lot of money spent on it just initially. So if we could actually have that, and not be shackled and actually have a disadvantage against the other teams. Because, Manchester United over the years, we are a great club, but over the last, certainly since Fergie's gone, we've struggled, but even before that with the shithouse Glazers coming in, it's hard for us to really compete at the very top level because we haven't got owners that are prepared to compete with the other owners. We haven't got the investment in all areas of the football club. Once that happens, we'll be absolutely spot on. And like FJT says there, Liverpool fans will cry. Here, mate, it's a fucking disgrace, isn't it? Nah, these guys were supposed to buy our football club, mate, and now United's on the market. Nobody fucking wants us, nah. Which is true because they're in 9th place. And plus, if you own Liverpool Football Club, you've actually got to go to Liverpool, guys. You know what I mean? And nobody wants to do that. Nobody wants to do that. So, that's it. If there's who's a more attractive proposition to own from an outside source or an outside, investor, who would be the most attractive proposition? Liverpool is a very great football club. I'm saying this in jest, really. We know the history. We know that they have had a good 5 years in terms of what they've been doing compared to the previous 30 years before that. But they are very much a historical football club, which is appealing to certain owners. But given the choice, if there's no affinity with either of these football clubs from an outside, say, foreign investor, it's a no-brainer. You go and buy Manchester United, don't you, rather than those Liverpool shithouses? The fan base, the history, everything. I mean, look, Liverpool's a great club, of course it is, but nothing comes close to the icon that is Manchester United, guys. And a lot of these investors will know that. They know that the potential that this club has to be a world domination in terms of to dominate world football. So I feel like it's going to help Manchester United significantly. It's going to hinder some other clubs, maybe like the Liverpool shithouses. They are, of course, being floated, essentially looking for new owners themselves. But Man United is a better club. So from outside investors' point of view, I think it is more of an attractive proposition to own United. Anyway, right, so there's a few offers on potentially coming on the table. We've got bids coming today. As you can see by this little piece of news here, in the bottom right-hand corner, Manchester United share price rockets by $400 million ahead of potential Qatar takeover United. I think it was up to $27 a share last night, maybe even more now. I haven't looked, but that's the sort of impact that potential new owners can have on a football club. So the price of the shares have gone up $400 million because of the potential takeover from these super duper rich new owners. You've got people who are worth $300 billion who will then be prepared to, well, hopefully spend money on the club. You're going to see infrastructure completely transformed at this club if somebody comes in and spends a couple of billion straight away. You've got to buy the club first, of course, but yeah, infrastructure will be transformed. The surrounding area, can have development. You can have new facilities, new stadia. Like I was saying the other day, when don't want to repeat myself, but I don't really want to see Old Trafford knocked down and rebuilt. I'd like to see it renovated. I'd like to see, couple of stands rebuilt, but it should keep its old school character, if you ask me, as much as possible, because there is a tremendous amount of history and tradition there. But the stadium, the facilities, all of that kind of thing needs a massive revamp, needs $1 billion spending. We need to have, the surrounding area can impact that as well. You look at the social development that's taken place surrounding the Etihad. Don't want to give them any praise, but, we should be trying to just improve that whole area outside and around the ground as well. You've got, the potential for the different networks set up at the club to grow and be invested in. So we have been left behind massively over the years, since, well, Fergie was here and since we actually used to really spend and invest in all areas. We've been left behind in terms of youth recruitment, if you ask me. We used to be the very best at that. That's how we ended up with the class of 92, with all those insanely epic players that we brought in. And yes, some of them are local lads, but, you know, like Scholesy from Oldham or whatnot, but others are not. You know, Beckham came from, I think he came from a Spurs academy back in the day, you know, and he obviously is from Essex, isn't he, or, you know, London way. So, you know, they're signing up these players early. They've got their feelers everywhere. The network was much better back then. We were much more cutting edge in regards to being able to go and scout top young talent, bring them in. We have been left behind a little bit there. You could argue there's like 10 clubs in the league that can produce or that go out there and find better young talents than we have over the years. We've had a few breakthrough great young players, of course, but you look at teams like, I don't know, Southampton or even City. I know City are scum, but City, because they've got so much money and they spent so much money, they've got so many people on the payroll, staff-wise, scout-wise, recruitment-wise, all that kind of thing. They have been able to, you know, produce good young talents, and they have been capable of going to sign as many young players as they can and just playing the numbers game in the hope that, you know, a Phil Foden comes through, not a Scott Sinclair. But either way, they definitely they definitely have invested in all areas like that. That's what United need to do, and once we've done that, we'll be right at the top competing with anybody. We're already on the ascendancy. Look at what Ten Hag's doing at this football club. Look at how United on the pitch is doing. We are better now. We are coming along nicely. We are just a few key players away from being one of the best teams in the world again. Ten Hag's proved himself to be a bit of a genius of a manager, so far anyway. The wheels can always fall off at some point, but I don't think they will do with Ten Hag. I feel like we've finally got ourselves a proper manager here. And what's scary, and what the other teams should be scared about, is that Man United have been doing this whilst operating with one hand tied behind our backs. You know, we haven't had the ability to really duke it out with the top clubs. When we are able to do that, they're screwed, guys. They're screwed, because this is a majestic club, and it seems like we've got good coaching staff in there right now. We've got a good squad of players. Just imagine in the summer if United spend 200, 300 million. That's all we need on players, right? Just something crazy like, I don't know, we go and we sign Jude Bellingham. Just imagine a midfield that consists of Casemiro, Jude Bellingham, and Bruno Fernandes for the next several years. Now, I'm not saying get rid of Christian Eriksen. Eriksen's immense. Eriksen can play 30 games a season. He's a machine. He's half man, half machine. He can play all those games, but I'm just talking about quality, extra added depth. If you can improve, this is a 20-year-old player we could get for 100 million. Sounds crazy, but if we had new owners, why wouldn't we go and get Bellingham? He would be brilliant for the next decade. So imagine a midfield that consists of Casemiro, Bellingham, Bruno Fernandes, and then you've got players coming in to deputise, whether it's Eriksen, Sabitzer, you know, these guys. It would be fantastic. We'd go from having, you know, not that much depth to brilliant depth all of a sudden, and having quality all throughout that midfield. That's where we should be aiming for. And if we are prepared to invest like that, and if we can actually sign top players because we're in contention for the title, we've got owners who are ambitious, who are prepared to spend, there's no stopping us. We would have an immense side overnight. We need 3 top players, I think. That's all we need. Ten Hag's actually done a tremendous job with his signings in the summer. The squad is kind of really developing nicely. I was talking to my brother last night, and I was saying to him, this is the first time in years where we've actually had, like, mostly a great spine. I know we've got Wout Weghorst up the top of the pitch. He's just a backup Poundland melt, isn't he? Once we get a proper baller up there, the spine is complete. Think about the spine. Back in the day, we used to have Rio and Vidic. Very important to have that lower vertebrae solid as a damn rock. Those guys certainly were. Finally, I feel like we've actually got a good centre-back partnership, which is, I'm not going to say as good as those guys, because these guys haven't won anything yet or achieved anything. But for the first time since those guys, I feel like we have got a proper centre-back partnership in the likes of Martinez and Varane. And Luke Shaw coming in to deputise looks great. So, you know, you've got a fantastic centre-back partnership. Slabby Maguire's all of a sudden 5th choice centre-back. It's fucking amazing. And then in the midfield, we've suddenly got ourselves a proper awesome midfield duo when fit, which is Casemiro and Eriksen. And I don't feel like we've had as good a combination of those players since, well, certainly Carrick and Fletcher. But if we're if we're really wanting to praise Casemiro for the top world-class player that he is, you've got to go back to the Keano and Scholes days to have as good as a centre midfield pairing, perhaps. Now, that's high praise indeed. These guys have only just come in. But you can clearly see that Casemiro is just a Rolls Royce of a midfielder, because look at his performance yesterday. He was relishing playing against those Barca melts. He's a competitor, he's a battler, and he's just above all of that, he's a fantastic player, a technical player, brilliant player. And so therefore, I feel like we haven't had as good as a midfield or as good as a defence since Rio and Vidic, and since Carrick and Fletcher, or even Keano and Scholes. So that is a massive part of your spine taken care of. And then up top's where the problem lies, really. We've got a Dutch Harry Maguire playing at the top there, and Tony Martial is super duper injured all the time and inconsistent. But if we actually did have a full-on proper baller number 9 sort of striker to score goals, it would be almost a formality that Man United are going to have huge success over the next few seasons, if you ask me, with new owners and Ten Hag at the wheel and that spine. I don't see how we can go wrong. I don't see how we could go wrong. So, yes, we do need to buy players, but it's not like previous seasons, I think, where we've got to go and buy loads of players. We just need to buy a couple of players, the right players in the summer, like really good players, not cheaping out on Poundland Melts, Glazer signings, Veghorst type players. No. Going to spend big, but just on a couple of really, really world-class players, i.e. Casemiro-type signings. He was 30, but you're talking about a guy who just solves all your problems and he's world-class in his position. That's what we need. Somebody who's super world-class in their position. So somebody like Casemiro, but as a striker, maybe like Mbappe, would be absolutely fantastic. And just on Mbappe, guys, look, I mean, you know, it's all just pure speculation at this stage, but we've got, according to French outlet Le Parisien, nobody watches League One in Qatar. They only watch Messi, Neymar and Mbappe in the Champions League. The only championship that excites them is the Premier League. Don't rule out Mbappe to United if Qatar completes the takeover. I mean, look, it's all wishful thinking, isn't it, guys? But that's what I'm saying. If Man United is the best club in England, guys, it really is. It really is. In my heart, I know that to be the case. We might not have won anything for a while, but history does not lie. And the size of this club, the support of this club is second to none. Second to none. So it's not beyond the realms of possibility for us to go and sign one of the best players in the world in Kylian Mbappe. If you go back 15 years, we would have gone and signed a player like that. When Sir Alex Ferguson was here, we had the pick of the bunch. We were always winning things. We were a very attractive team to go and play for. We could have easily gone and signed a player like Kylian Mbappe back then. We haven't been in that position for a little while until probably this summer. When new owners are here and we've finished really high up there, maybe even challenged for the title, won a couple of trophies or won one trophy, and we're looking good. Then we will be able to compete with anybody, I think, in the transfer market and bring in the quality players needed. I think it'd be a massive boost, wouldn't it? What a project to get involved in. If we had new owners who are worth hundreds of billions and they're going to spend and everybody knows about it, if you're a prospective signer or a player that's thinking about joining Manchester United, you look at United's position right now, you look at what's happening under Ten Hag, the development, the squad, and if you've got all that backing behind you and all that ambition with a plan over the next 5 or 10 years to try and win everything and be the best team in the world, I think that would attract any player in the world. I really do. Hey Berber, what's going on, lad? He says, our starting 11 needs 3 players and we need more depth on the bench. Spot on, Berber. I completely agree with you. So I think 3 players in the starting 11 completes the starting 11, really. And in doing so, it gives us a bit of depth. So right now, if you think about our midfield, like we had to play Fred yesterday because we've got no Eriksen, no Sabitzer. When those guys are back, we'll have that depth again in midfield. But to improve that midfield, you need to get rid of somebody like McTominay and go and sign somebody like Bellingham. That means Eriksen gets pushed down the pecking order just a little bit. Not that he's not a class player who can play a lot of games, but it just means he gets pushed down the pecking order a little bit. But what does that do to your overall depth and quality? Gives you a massive boost. It means that when you rotate, you've now not got Scott McTominay to come in. Now you've got Eriksen to come in, who's way better and way more technical. So you start with Cassie, you start with Bellingham, but then when you do need to rotate, when there is an injury, when there is many games coming, when you do need a substitute to come on, you're putting a quality player on for a quality player. You're not putting a fucking shortbread eating melt on who's going to completely melt all over the gaff. No, you've got depth and quality. So I actually completely agree with you. We're only a few signings away from having a great team. And then, like you say, a couple of additions to the squad for the future, maybe. So get rid of Slabby Maguire. See you later on, Harry. Sell you to... Who would you like to see Harry Maguire sign for, guys? Or who do you think's a good fit for Harry Maguire? I think, Sean Dyche. Sean Dyche over at Everton, my son. He can actually, the thing is with Harry Maguire is he's actually a good player. He's a low block defender, as we've talked about many times. There's many teams he could go and play for and do well for. Honestly, I genuinely believe that. But they're all low block teams. They're not teams that are going to be in your face up high up the pitch. They're all low block teams. So he could go do really well. It's like if you're Gareth Southgate and you're watching what Eric Ten Hag's doing right now, you would consider using Luke Shaw as a centre-back for England. I would anyway, if I was England manager, rather than that human melt slab. However, Southgate loves Harry Maguire, and Southgate's style of play with England is not the same as Ten Hag's. So Southgate probably favours a big human slab over potentially Luke Shaw, but Ten Hag doesn't because he wants to play a different style, which is more befitting to Manchester United. So get rid of Harry Maguire, go and sign a good young player, like to develop somebody to potentially at one stage overtake or take over, I should say, from Varane, who's getting on a bit. He's still not that old, but getting on a bit. In a few years' time, you want somebody to succeed him who's going to be the next Varane. So you need to plan. So get rid of the slab, get a young player, a couple of squad additions, and we are sorted. Ruddy Can't Game, thank you so much for the super sticker, mate, or the super chat. Let's get a Sue in there for him. He says, we need a sugar daddy. Are you serious, though? Because you're spending a shitload of cash, Ruddy Can't Game. I know what you mean, but how much have Arsenal spent in the last 2 seasons on players alone? It's a lot. I think it's got to be at least the second or third most in the league over the last 2 seasons. You didn't spend jack shit before that, to be honest, to be fair to you. But the last few seasons, you really have opened up the old wallet. The moths have flown out, and you've actually spent. So you have been investing. You have been spending money recently, but I hear you, though. Guys, do us a favour if you're just getting in. We've actually got 171 legends in here. Thank you for being here. Let's get 171 likes. We're on 76 likes right now. You what? That means there's 100 people watching this who have not hit the like button. Twat that like, give your head a wobble, my friends, and hit the thumbs up on this video. It boosts us up there and helps us on YouTube. It's free to like. Twat that thumbs up button. Also, if it's your first time on the channel, make sure you subscribe because we cover all the latest United news and we have a great community here. We chat United until the cows come home. So make sure you subscribe and click the like and click the bell icon as well and get yourself in the chat. We're dipping in and out, but we will have a Q&A at the end. DJ John T says, Eric has made such a great progress in our club. I can see Jude watching our club and thinking, I want a piece of that cake. Definitely, that's what I'm saying. Like, because of the improvement, the chances of us actually having success over the next couple of seasons has risen markedly. And the new owners potentially coming in who supposedly rich, supposedly will invest and will have ambition to try and rival what owners like Todd Bowley are trying to do. I'm not saying they're doing well at the moment, but they are having ambition to spend a lot of money. I think we need that. We do need that. We don't need to be ridiculous. As I've said many times, and I don't want to repeat myself until I'm blue in the face here, but this club's a massive beast and it generates a lot of cash. We don't really need to spend billions on this, on the playing staff or anything like that, and just have a sugar daddy put money into the club like City have done since 2011 or whenever it was. We don't really need that. City needed that because they didn't have any generation of money. They don't have no fans, guys. They got 7 people in the empty-ad stadium. They had no bloody fans. They had to spend money, their own money, and put it. But Man United generates a lot of money, and so therefore, once we've just got everything sorted and spent a bit, we can self-sustain. We're such a beast of a club, we can self-sustain. So that's what's exciting about United. It's not just the fact that we're going to have new owners that spend a lot of money. Once the shackles are off this club, i.e. we're not having to spend on interest payments for debts that we've got, and we actually are prepared to invest in all areas, we will generate a lot of cash for this football club anyway. So plus, as a more successful team, you're just going to generate more money. If you win competitions, you get prize money. If you win competitions, you're more likely to attract bigger, better sponsors, which leads to more money. So it's a snowball effect. United do need to spend to begin with, but once we're successful again, once we're winning things again, we're just going to be a beast in terms of generation of cash. So will be absolutely fine, whichever owners come in and clear the debts, if you ask me. But right now, there's a few offers on the table. Let's get back into it. Thank you for subscribing there, by the way, M. Callie. I appreciate you so much. Yeah, Sam Waitson says, is sale deadline at 10? Well, from what we hear, it's at 10 p.m, yes, which is 5 p.m. New York time. The Rain Group overseeing this. They want offers on the table by then. That's what's reported. You know, you've got to take it with a pinch of salt because we don't have a direct line into the negotiation room. But certainly 5 p.m. New York time or 10 p.m. UK time, this is supposedly when the deadline is. There's a sale deadline for bids coming in on the table because the Glazers want a quick sale and they want to get out before the end of the season. So, and the new owners can come in and want to start by the new season as well. Which potential owner would you prefer, says Palmarius? Thank you, Palmarius, very much indeed for your question. Honestly, Sir Jim Ratcliffe. Honestly, Sir Jim. But I don't really care. Honestly, I don't really care because I just think the Glazers are so bad and parasites and haven't invested any of their own money in this club. And they're just a big ball and chain around the leg of United. Anybody else really is going to help United at this stage. Now, there's questions about morals, there's questions about difference in cultures and all this sort of stuff. I'm not really going to get into any of that, guys, right now. I just feel like anybody would be better than those Glazers shithouses for Manchester United. But for me, I do like Sir Jim Ratcliffe because he's supposedly a United fan as a lad. That gives him a little tick in the box. He's British. That gives him a tick in the box because it's a British football club. You know, that's the only reason. It does make sense. But I don't mind foreign owners at all, as long as they're the right owners. All I want is somebody to come in and be ambitious and oversee this football club and just run it sensibly. You know, not live beyond our means, not spend 2 pence a year, not shackle, not take loads of money out of the football club. Absolutely not. I just want somebody to run us in the right way. So as long as somebody's prepared to do that, I'm not really that bothered who it is. We've all got our preferences. I would like, Sir Jim, but let's ask the live chat. So we've got a few different options on the table. Let's put that back to the live chat. Who do you want to see as new owners of United? Is it Elon Musk with SpaceX rockets delivering the match ball? Is it Sir Jim Ratcliffe? Is it Qatari investors? Is it Saudi Arabia investors? Is it American owners, other American owners, Apple, Disney, some other bloke? Let us know who you think. I mean, the Qataris, no doubt, have got all the cash. They've got a shitload of cash. What's up, Vids for Luck? Shout out to you, bro. Qatar, says Nikolai Lindquist. You'd have Musk, says Fitness Balance. Hey, what's going on there, Dirty Sanchez? Jim Ratcliffe, says Footy Gaffer. Qatar, says Andy Bell. Elon Who, says Finksu. Big Jim, says Scujo. Sound Dogs going Qatar and Great White. Yeah, Jim Watkins says we can all agree to get the Glazers out and bring someone in who cares. I prefer Qatar. Fair play, Jim. Ratcliffe, says Alex Core. Could be Alan Sugar, says hell no, Betty Bojangles. He was a Spurs melt. We don't want a Spurs melting in this football club. That's a bad omen. Qatar, says Pete Morris. He's skinned anyway, Betty Bojangles, man. Compared to these Dubai guys. Qatar, says No Toes. Oil me up, says Tom Riddle. Pablo Escobar. Qatar, says Jorgen Johnson. I'm from England, Corey Joseph, from Dorset, lad. Qatar, says Sandeep Barrage. Right, yeah, so a lot of people seem to want Qatar. And I can understand it. They're the richest. Reports of them being worth 300 billion. Let's get into it. So here's the reports, guys. Let's get into it. So give me a moment. I'll just read some stuff out here. But we have reports that there's a deadline. Essentially, it'll be not a hard deadline. This is just they want bids in to assess the situation. There's a soft deadline essentially today at 10 p.m. UK time, 5 p.m. New York time. Parties interested in purchasing United will have to submit their bids by 10 p.m. as the deadline has been set by the Rain Group. Qatar investors are considered the leaders in buying Manchester United right now, I guess because they've got the money and they might be prepared to spend a little bit more. However, there is still a very strong interest reportedly from Sir Jim Ratcliffe, and also there's a very strong interest reportedly from a Saudi Arabian owners as well. So just to let you know what's happening, Rain Group, the US merchant bank enlisted to sell the club, they'll begin sorting through all of the offers and deciding which is the best for the Glazers, their client, i.e. which is the most money probably. I would like it if they looked at it, not just on that, but they looked at it on, what the plans are of these potential owners as well. Like, what are their initial ideas beyond buying the football club? It would be nice to know that it's being handed to owners that are going to do the right thing at this club. But that's not going to be the case with the Glazers. They don't really give a toss, I don't think. They would sell this club for 10 billion if it was dissolved tomorrow, if they could make an extra few billion. They don't care. So they just want the money. But some investors, are going to put in bids today, and they have to have proof of funds. There's a report that the Glazers want about £6 billion. So I don't think they'll quite get that. But in terms of a bidding war that could take place, there could be a bit of a bidding war here. So Jim Ratcliffe and whoever, they may put a £4.5 billion offer in. And then the Qataris might come in with a £5 billion offer. And there may well be a little bit of a bidding war here. And you know that the Glazers are just going to choose the very best one. I would like it if there was some plans on the table, as I say, for them to try and improve other areas of the team. Like, not just about how much money is actually going to be given to the Glazers to buy the club, but also what's your plans on initial investments for stadiums or facilities or expenditure, in the first couple of seasons. If I was the Rain Group and if I was an owner of this club trying to sell the club, those would be things I'd be very much interested in, because you want to make sure that the club's being given into good hands, not like the last sale of the football club given to the shithouse Glazers for debt money, which they bought the club with debt. That's just wrong. So we don't want another situation like that. We want to make sure that these new owners are buying the club outright, they're clearing the debts, and they're prepared to invest straight away. So should the Glazers, but like I just mentioned, they won't care about that. They just want the most money. Peter Abate, thank you for the $4.99 super chat, lad. Sue! Let's get some love hearts in there for Peter Abate. Thank you, Peter. He comments, Pig, how are you feeling, brother? I'm feeling fucking amazing, dude. Come on! I'm feeling like I'm back, bud. I'm absolutely amazing today, mate. Thank you so much. I mean, I'm still not 100%, but I feel fantastic, Peter Abate, compared to a day or two ago, mate. Absolutely wonderful. Thank you for asking. And he also says, for me, I would like Sir Jim Ratcliffe to own the club, honestly. Great shout, Peter Abate. Yes, I'm with you, lad. I'm with you. We are a beast of a club, and once we've got good owners who've cleared the debts, we'll be fine. I would rather owners that are just sensible, that oversee this football club to try and be successful, rather than are trying to milk it, or even we don't really need a sugar daddy owner, to be honest. We don't need a Roman Abramovich or a Sheikh Mansour. We actually don't need that, because we are just a huge beast of a club. That's the difference between us and some of these other clubs. We don't really need that much outside investment. It would be nice initially to have that from owners to show that they're really serious, but we actually don't need that much outside investment. We just need not to be wasting money on servicing debts and paying off interests. We need to put most of the money that's generated from this club back into the club. So if United generate a few £100 million in a season, and there's X amount of profit, 90% of that should go into the club again. I know you're never going to get an owner who wants to put 100% of the money that they make or the profit that they make back into the company. That's not really how it works. But you should be putting most of what this club generates back into the club to try and be competitive, try and be successful. So I think, yes, that's what we need, really. We need. There's always going to be shareholders who have dividends paid out to them. That's how it goes when there's you've got public stocks and you've got shareholders. You have to pay dividends. That's how it goes. But there's a right way and a wrong way of doing so. And definitely at the moment with our current owners, we are definitely doing it the wrong way. We've got 200 legends in here, by the way. Thanks for being here, guys. Once again, I'm going to ask you to hit that subscribe button if you're new. We're on our way to getting towards 70,000 subscribers on this YouTube channel, which is mad. We are nearly there. Hit that subscribe button if you're new. Twat that like on the video. It's free. Look at the tweet at the top of the live chat as well. Click that. Go and give us a retweet on Twitter. Nice one. Noto says cold showers and some zoots will help you heal quicker. Pig says Noto. I'm not so sure about that, Notos. I think isn't that the Ronaldo method at Old Trafford? He was a little bit disappointed about the showers, wasn't he? And the facilities. That's another thing. Once we've got the new owners in, hopefully we get some new pigging showers. You know what I mean? And all these different areas of the club that are lacking. We've got a microwave from 1984, for fuck's sake, in the kitchen, guys. They've still got a fax machine to get their correspondence, for Pete's sake. They need some upgrade. There needs to be some upgrades going on at Old Trafford for sure. So, yeah, thank you so much for that, by the way. Tad Bakes, what's going on, you legend? And thank you to Berber for putting the link to the channel membership in there. He's put a link to the membership. If you guys want to support the channel, $1.99 a month. You get badges, you get your name in green, you get a highlighted member comment, and you get admiration from the Bacon Brigade. There's the link. Thank you, Berber, for putting that in there, dude. Okay, so let me continue with the spiel. Bunch of plans have been drawn out from a few different potential owners, you know, who could be bidding for the club. Sir Jim Ratcliffe. I mean, there's even reports that there's interest from China and Singapore as well. We'll see how many bids there are on the table. I think there's going to be a few. I honestly do. It's just too good of a prospect to turn down if you're an oligarch or a super rich individual or a prince or a state-owned sort of, you know, whatever it may be. It's just too good of a prospect. When you look at what happened with Chelsea and how they were bought and who was interested in them, there was a bunch of different consortiums interested in buying Chelsea. Chelsea are shite, guys. You know? Man United, that's where it's at. We're the best club in this country, historically, and we just are. We're just better. Not arrogant, just better. You know, that's Man United, right? So everybody knows that from the outside looking in. If it's available for a good price, which I think, let's say £5 billion for a huge franchise like Manchester United, it's a brilliant price. It's an absolutely brilliant price. The reason it's not 6 or 7 billion is just because of where the state of the club is at with our facilities, with our debts, with our current owners. It's just we are slightly we're devalued right now. But once somebody came in and bought this club, the value would be instantly huge at Manchester United overnight. Especially if they're prepared to spend overnight, it could be worth £7-8 billion. That's how it's going to work. This is a huge football club, and you have to remember, a lot of people don't like putting money into this football club because of the shithouse Glazers and their regime and their ownership. That's the reason why FC United of Manchester came into fruition. That's the reason why there's a lot of fans of this club that do not like the commercialism, the globalisation, the way that the Glazers have run this club. And once they're gone, depending on what the new owners are like and what the new owners do, I think there will be a lot of fans who are like, you know what, yes, let's get back on board with putting our money into the club. Let's get back on board with buying the shirts. Let's get back on board with, the season tickets and all the rest of it. I think it's very much going to have a knock-on effect of the new owners, if they are the right type of owners, we're just going to generate more cash instantly overnight. And so therefore it's a very attractive proposition from a new potential owner coming in, because their £5 billion instantly turns into £6 billion or £7 billion. The generation of money from this club is just going to go up and up and up and up after the Glazers have gone, in my opinion. So there's interest from all different places. Qatar are working on it as a priority. So Jim Ratcliffe may try and strike up some sort of allegiance or alliance with consortiums or various consortium if he can't get it over the line himself. So reports are that the main front runners, as of right now, Qatar and Sir Jim Ratcliffe are the main front runners to take over the club right now. That's reportedly the case. Also, like I say, the share prices have risen, which is just more of a bargaining chip for the shithouse Glazers. They want £5 billion for the club. They're more likely to get that now because United's share price has risen by £334 million in a day yesterday. And so therefore, that has to be factored into sales of the club. But the reason that is because of the whole potential sale. If a new owner comes in, the potential of this club's just unlocked instantly. As I just mentioned, the commercialism of this club's unlocked instantly. Everything's bigger, everything's better. So that's why it's gone up so much, because new owners coming in will have a massive effect on Manchester United's fortunes. But the price had been £19.87 per share, but after the jump, the price has risen to £20.35 per share, an increase of over 3%. It's a heck of a lot of money, and the increase is more than what was paid by PAF to take Newcastle off the hands of Mike Ashley. So it's gone up. The value of this club's gone up massively just at the prospect of getting rid of those shithouse Glazers, because the potential's massive with those bastards gone. The Qataris are set to lodge a £5 billion bid, reportedly. This is what Bloomberg are saying. There's a self-imposed deadline from the shithouse Glazers of 10 p.m. tonight, so we'll find out who really is serious. They'll have to compete with Saudi Arabia, USA, Sir Jim Ratcliffe. So the Qatar investor group were reportedly interested in buying Liverpool, but there was a failure. Let's get some hashtag piss-offs, Cousers, in the live chat. But there's a failure in negotiations, and they've decided that when Manchester United became a realistic prospect of being bought, that this was just a much better proposition to buy than shithouse Liverpool. It's a bigger, better club. And plus, there's reports that these guys over in Qatar actually do support Manchester United as well. But there was a failed bid, reported anyway, to buy rivals Liverpool from Qatar-based journalist Mohammed Al-Karbi. He said that there was a failed bid by these Qataris to buy Liverpool. Both clubs, of course, currently on the market as well. They'd hope to take full control over John Henry's Fenway Sports Group at Anfield. But it's just not, with the two clubs on the table, Manchester United is a much better proposition, if you ask me. We've got a bit of an interesting piece of information, though, in regards to sort of UEFA's stance on multi-club ownership, because we do have to talk about this a little bit, because there's kind of a little bit of a grey area of this whole thing. I think it's okay, but UEFA has got a stance on multi-club ownership amid reports that these Qatar investors are interested. So just to let you know what the sort of finer details are here. So the Qatar Investment Authority, the QIA, has been linked with a purchase of Man United. The QIA is a sovereign wealth fund for the state of Qatar. With the Qatari Sports Investment, the QSI, they own PSG, by the way, a subsidiary. So they're not actually the same company, but it's a subsidiary of that wealth fund for the state. So this is where it gets a little bit confusing and it gets a little bit grey, if you ask me. But the QIA is subject to supervision by the state of Qatar, and in turn, Emir Tamim bin Ahmed Al Thani, the QIA and QSA are separately run entities despite their same state ownerships. So it is a very confusing situation, but essentially they are pretty sure they're different entities, but they do have similar state ownership, and one of which is a subsidiary of the other or something like that, guys. You have to forgive me, I'm not a Bloomberg financial expert here, but that seems to be the case. So we know that UEFA don't want the idea of a club being owned by one person and then owning another football club, even though we see it many times already. Because in one way or another, because of course there could be foul play going on there. Multi-club ownership has risen due to economic factors, with wealthy people, taking charge or having minority stakes in different football clubs. So if technically they can't have the majority shares in more than one, they might have minority shares in another one. It does become a little bit of a grey area. You've got New York City FC and the City Scummers and this sort of stuff. The number of clubs coming under such a portfolio rose from 40 in 2012 to 100 in 2018, with there now being more than 180 clubs worldwide, which is 2/3 of domestic European football associations, having rules against multi-club ownerships in the same country, including England. So, there's definitely regulations, and UEFA regulates, or regulations dictate that two clubs with the same owner cannot play each other in any of their competitions to protect competitive integrity and avoid untoward financially beneficial results. In 2018, UEFA allowed RB Salzburg and RB Leipzig, both owned by Red Bull, to enter the Europa League and subsequently face each other after they were required to show that they made a vast number of staff personnel changes to ensure none had a conflict of interest with the opposite club. So this is where it gets a little bit gashed, isn't it? Like I said, I don't think it is the same company. It's a subsidiary of one over in Qatar, state funded, right? But PSG say, there is some ownership. The QAA own PSG, or the QSI, I should say. But if United was purchased by QIA, then they would probably have to prove that they're a completely separate entity to the QSI, the Qatar Sports Investment Group, because they are both owned by the state of Qatar. So it's not exactly known whether or not UEFA will look at it from that point of view as, it's a subsidiary, it's a different body, it's a different entity, or whether they will see it as just having the same owners because it's Qatar state owned, essentially. So it could be considered multi-club ownership. That's the only way I think it's got an issue. But then the other potential owner we're talking about here, Sir Jim Ratcliffe, It's the same situation with him as well. So Sir Jim Ratcliffe, he owns OGC Nice in France, and UEFA had a report recently on February 10th that said that the European Football Club footballing landscape, which looked into the state of play of football on the continent post-pandemic, expressed its concerns with multi-club owners across the continent. It said, the rise of multi-club investment has the potential to pose a material threat to the integrity of European club competitions, with a growing risk of seeing two clubs with the same owner or investor facing each other on the pitch, which is a very fair point. That would be terrible, wouldn't it? So imagine if Sir Jim owned OGDs, and he's also in Manchester United. And they play each other in a competition. I mean, that is a very big, strong clash of interest there. It really is. It added the growth in multi-club investment has the potential to distort transfer activity, with an increasing percentage of transfers being executed within multi-club investment groups at prices that suit investors rather than at fair values, to the detriment of trainer clubs, which receive less compensation in the form of solidarity payments. So you can't get away from this, that it is, there is a bit of a concern here that the integrity of the game could be brought into disrepute here by an owner such as either the Qatar Sports Investment Group or Sir Jim Ratcliffe having too many fingers in too many different pies. So it actually does remain to be seen what UEFA and what the Premier League and what these sort of bodies would have to say about the potential new owners, guys. But that's kind of where we're at, really. Those are the two most likely to take on Manchester United, Qatar and Sir Jim. Sir Jim is still much interested in this club. Reports that he's been prepared to spend 4.5 billion, and maybe he would team up with somebody else as well. The Qatar consortium, as of right now, is leading proceedings. This is a report from Bloomberg via transfers_UTD on Twitter. My man Matty Rushmano, he says a consortium including Ahmad bin Jassim bin Jabbar Al Thani, the country's former prime minister and ex-head of the Qatar Investment Authority, is putting the final touches on a proposal to acquire United from the shithouse Glazer family. But many bids are coming today. Bids from Sir Jim and Qatar will be submitted today. The Glazers have already had at least two proposals to buy the football club. There we have it. There we have it, guys. Hey, thank you, Tom, for getting your highlighted member comment in here, bro. Sorry, guys, I just got to catch up with the chat. I've been waffling a little bit there, haven't I? Tom, thank you for being a member of the channel for 35 months, man. Dudes, let's get a 35 in there. Almost 3 years. Great to see you. How you been? It's been a while. He says, my first stream since your return. Glad you're okay, mate. Thank you, Tom. I'm feeling so much better, dude, honestly. I feel almost right as rain now. No pun intended. Right as the rain group. Tom, thank you so much for being a member nearly 3 years. Let's get a hashtag 35 in for Tom. Thanks so much, bud. Good to see you back. Hope you're doing well. And we've also got a couple of new members here, guys. We've got a new member, Andy Bell. Nice one, Andy Bell. Get your Phil Jones emojis in for Andy Bell. Welcoming in with a cheeky Phil Jones gun. Thanks for becoming a member of the channel, Andy Bell, and supporting the channel, mate. You're a legend, son. I appreciate you very much indeed, Andy Bell. CZ Bam as well has been a member for 7 months, and he's got his highlighted comment in there. 7 months. Let's get a hashtag 7 for CZ Bam as well. Nice one, CZ Bam. And thank you to Andy Bell, and thank you very much there to Tom. Thanks, guys, for getting your highlighted comments in there. Right, where was I? Lots of bids coming in today. Yeah, well, pal Marius, he says, Sky News saying we should have new owners by Easter. So if the timeline goes to plan, i.e. there's bids on the table today, there's a 10 p.m. deadline, there's bids on the table today, it's going to take a few days or even weeks for them to verify, for them to decide on which is the best new owner for the Glazers and for United. Hopefully that's what they're thinking about, but mostly who can give them the most money for the Glazers and how can they make the most money. Once they've decided all of that out, then it should be a pretty quick process in terms of the sale of the club. You look at how quickly Chelsea was sold. It doesn't take all that long once the funds have been proven, once the interest is established, once that they actually want to sell. If the Glazers receive 5 billion and they can walk off into the sunset with, billions in profit, not sure exactly what percentage of that they would end up with. It depends on their percentage stake. And, obviously they had their initial money that they put into the club with debts and things like that. But let's just say they stand to make at least a couple of billion, few billion in profit. Once they've got that, they will run off into the sunset, and then they'll be happy to hand over the club to the new owners. So you could see the new owners in by Easter. You could see the new owners certainly in by the end of the season to start the new campaign. So I think that's a fair timeline, actually, Pal Marius. I do. It might be a bit wishful thinking to hope that in a couple of months' time we could have new owners, but I actually think that's the case. I don't think it would take very long once the interest has been established and once the bids are on the table. And if the Glazers are happy with a bid, they'll proceed with it, won't they? And they will sell the club. So it should actually happen pretty quick, man. Should actually happen pretty quick. Tom says, sorry if you've already said, mate, but who are your preferred buyers? I have already said, Tom. I guess my preferred buyer would probably be Sir Jim Ratcliffe, because the United fan aspect, when he was a kid, apparently, he's already got some interest in the football club OG Nice, which means that he sort of knows the game a little bit more maybe than some others. He seems like a football man who's interested in football, which I'm interested in. So I would go with him. He's also the most skint out of them all, though. He's only worth a measly 16 bill. He's only worth a measly 16 billion, guys, or, allegedly. So he's not got the hundreds of billions behind them that this Qatar investment group would have, not at all. But as I've said many times, and I hate to repeat myself, we don't really need a super sugar daddy oligarch type owner, because Man United's a beast of an entity in itself. And we generate huge cash. And just if we've got sensible owners who oversee this club properly, we will be in an absolutely fine situation. So I would go with Sir Jim personally, but I'm honestly not that bothered. If it's Qatar owners, look, people go on about the human rights and all this sort of stuff. Are the Glazers ethically morally right themselves, That's the question. They're our current owners, and they're shithouses. Now, we're talking about massive cultural differences now as well. We're talking about massive cultural differences, which are hard to understand. Now, from our Western eye, yes, you can say, oh, some of these things that happen in Saudi Arabia and Qatar are atrocities. But there is a difference in cultural landscape that you have to respect, you have to understand to a degree. You kind of have to live and let live to a degree. Now, you can't change everybody, can you? It's actually really tough, because from one point of view, I think ethically, morally, let's just go with Sir Jimmy or somebody who's in their own country. They don't necessarily have such human rights issues, women's rights issues, gay rights issues, all these different things that are really concerning from our Western eye. We have to say that some of these things, they don't really align with Manchester United's British ethics. That's just the case. There's nothing wrong in saying that. That is a difference in cultures. But right now we've got shithouse owners as well. And most of these owners, whoever it may be, you could drag up some sort of ethical questions about them. Whether it's Sir Jim and is melting people with chemicals in plastic tubs, or it's allegedly, there is actually no allegedly there, guys. I don't know why I said that. It's because he makes chemicals. Or if it's Apple and their issues, or if it's Apple and their issues with kids putting phones together in sweatshops for 2p an hour, or whoever it is. Nobody's perfect, as I keep saying. So you can say, oh, I don't want Qatari owners because of the human rights issues in their country. We've got some human rights issues in this country as well. In all honesty, we do. So it's a cultural difference, which I know is hard for a lot of people to get their head around. But yes, in an ideal world, I'll probably go with Sir Jim. And the only reason for that is he's a footballing man, and he's supposedly a United fan when he was a kid. And also, this is a British football club. And I don't care what anybody says. This isn't xenophobic. It would be good if a British football club was owned by someone British. That's okay to say. It's a globalist world, I understand. I'm not bothered if we have owners from, a foreign land, if they're the right owners who are good for this football club. But it would be a little tick to have a British owner. I think that's only fair to say. Just like it's a tick for United to have homegrown players in their team. We don't want to... If you look at Arsenal back in the day when Wenger was there, Arsenal, by the way... You could argue that they ruined English football to a degree, because they were the first team, just so you know, the first team, Arsenal, to field a team in the Premier League consisting of completely foreign players. Not one player in the starting 11 was British or homegrown. They were the first team to field a team with completely foreign players, right? Which some people go, who cares about that? Who really cares about that? It's the modern game. Football's changed. If you want the best players in the world coming to play in your league, they're going to come all over the world, and you're going to get teams that are completely non-British. But for me, I think it's important to keep that identity. It's the English Premier League. So you want to have a few players in your team who are English. Just like you want to have an owner, or at least a few owners within the 20 teams in the league, at least a few teams owned by English owners. Of course you do. Of course you do. So it would be good for that to be the case, I honestly believe. Yeah, Noto says British owner for a British club is reasonable pig. With Ratcliffe's purchase, it would, however, be funded by a consortium of foreign interests. Partially, yes. I mean, you have to say that partially, but like I say, the man on the deed, the man on the deed, the ownership is British. So I understand what you say. Hey, Geewolf, I'm not doing too shabby, my lad. How are you doing? Hope you're doing good today, Geewolf. Tom says, keep Maguire then, pig. No, we don't need to keep Maguire. No, look, he's English, he's homegrown. I see what you're saying. But he's shite, bud. He's shite, bud. Yeah, that's right, MUFC. 80% of the league's foreign players. You're absolutely right. But would it be the same, though, if 100% of the league was foreign players? It is the English Premier League. I think we've got a duty to keep some of that identity there within the league. That's all I'm saying. So it would be no bad thing if this club was owned by British owners. It would be no bad thing. I think that's a plus. Plus, I actually just look at the overall package. There are moral issues here. There are question marks about people's intentions with buying this football club. So we have to look at it from not just who's got the most money, but also who is the right fit for Manchester United. So I would prefer Sir Jim Ratcliffe and then probably I would like Elon Musk second, just because he's super rich and he doesn't do things by halves. He's an innovator, but he probably isn't even on the table. I don't think that's legit. But then after that, it's like, take your pick. I would take Qatar owners right now, guys, because the Glazers are terrible. And it's like, what's the lesser of two evils here? Let's not get into this money shit, says Roy the Boy Kino. Well, that's what we're doing, mate. That's what we're doing. Geewolf says Varane's are better than defending Maguire, but long ball is better, says Geewolf United. Okay, yes, so, there's no comparison, is there? Like Varane versus Maguire. I'd rather have the Frenchman, 100%. So, look, that only goes so far, doesn't it? The whole homegrown thing or the whole British thing. It is a British club. It'd be good to have British owners, just like it's good to have British players. But what ultimately is the most important thing is how good they are. How good. That's a very good point you bring up, Geewolf, because Varane is much better than Maguire. And if there's a foreign owner who's going to be much better than a potential British owner, I'd rather have them. I'd rather have the foreign owner who's going to do it the right way, who's going to invest, who's going to actually try and have the ambition to win things, rather than a British owner just because they're British. I mean, Mike Ashley's British, and he's a fucking wankstain. You know what I mean? Nobody would want that guy anywhere near your football club. So, very good point. Very good point. Very few clubs in Premier League owned by British owners, says John North. Damn right. It is very, very few. So, I think it'd be good for the league. It'd be good for United. It'd be good for the country if it stayed in Britain. I'm really not that bothered though. Qatar in for me, says Callum. Yeah. Jamie says, Pig, you want English people, but what have English people won since the 60s? Well, I actually said British people, Jamie Todd, to be honest now. But what have English people won since the 60s? You ask? Well, a lot of stuff actually, mate. a lot of stuff. I mean, if you're just talking about football, then a shitload of stuff, mate. Champions Leagues, Premier Leagues, it's not just all about the World Cup over 4 years, Jamie Todd, you melt. You know what I mean? Anyway, yes, they are more expensive than foreign players, DJ John T. You're spot on. It's because there's homegrown quotas in teams. These are important, and it's important to keep that identity as well. Look, there's still fantastic English players. I think we've proven that over the last few years, players that have done well on the world stage. People like Gareth Bale, he's Welsh. That counts. That counts, guys. That's British, right? He counts. It's debatable, but it counts. People like Rashford this season. He's doing it. He's doing it on the biggest stage. He's doing it against the biggest team. There's lots of good British players over the years that have been brilliant. So Wayne Rooney, aka the White Pele. Do you know what I mean? Like, let's put a little bit of respect on British players' names. We are still a great production line of talents. We're not the best in the world. I actually think the reason for that, why we're probably not the best at producing talents as maybe we were, Well, it is because of the effect of the Premier League having a lot of different players from different countries now playing in it. It only stands to reason. We don't export a lot of players in this country, do we? Very rare that you see players playing abroad. You know, Bellingham's one, you know, there's a couple, but most of them play in England. We don't really export a lot of players, which means that there's a lot less opportunities for these homegrown players to actually play regularly and improve. So they're up against it, these English players from the off. They really are, because we are inundated with players from different countries because they're the best. We want players who are the best in this league. It's the best league in the world. And to be competitive, you need the best players. And you want to have a talent pool of the whole globe, not just one country. But what that does mean is it limits chances and opportunities for these young players coming through. They're not going to get into Man City's team as easy because they've got some star from Portugal or Brazil or whoever who's cost a lot of money, who's come in to help them win immediately. So these young players, they don't get the opportunities. I still think we would produce amongst the best players in the world if we had more players playing in the league. So if you go back 20 years, there used to be a rule, you could have like 3 foreign players in your squad. I'm not saying we do that, but I think it would benefit English football, English footballers, British football, if you did have to have a certain amount of players in your squad every single game in the English Premier League. People aren't going to go for that. It's probably going to water down the league a little bit because a lot of top players won't be able to stay. A lot of top players will have to go to La Liga or France or Germany. So it's not a good idea because the Premier League will be weakened for it. But in terms of what would happen with British players in their development, it would help British players if they were playing every single week, wouldn't it? Anyway, yeah, Palmaris says, God, the quality in the Prem would drop off massively if that happened. It would. Like I just said, it would be watered down because a lot of the players would go elsewhere. They'd have to go elsewhere. The quotas would have to be filled for British players. And so the quality of the league and the teams would be worse. So I'm not saying it's a good idea, but you would actually argue that the improvement and the quality of the British players would be massively improved because they'd actually be playing every single week. But I agree, it's not a good idea for the overall league. We're the best league in the world right now for a reason. It's the most commercial league in the world. It's a global league. That's why Qatar, want Manchester United. It's because Man United is in the Premier League and it's one of the biggest clubs in the world and the league is the biggest in the world. And that's why they want it. It's the most exciting league in the world and it's the most competitive league in the world. It's not just about, 1 or 2 teams going to win it every single season. No, there's 4 or 5 teams testing that out every single year. There's 10 top teams really in the league. So yes, that's why it's so competitive. And I wouldn't want to change that, to be honest, because we've got this product which is sensational. And, there's a reason why it's there. It's because it's a global league in that sense. Thank you, Palmarius. Yeah, nice one. Right, okay. By the way, 242 legends in the chat, guys. Thank you for being here. I've been waffling on for an hour. I'm going to get into a Q&A shortly once I've covered 1 or 2 more things which I want to cover. Thank you all for listening to me. We've got 166 likes on the stream. Come on. Let's see if we can get 200 likes. Let's have a little afternoon like spike. Hit the thumbs up button on it. It's free. Give us a boost up. Help us compete with clickbait wankers and corporations by hitting that thumbs up and sharing it around. Check out the Twitter. In fact, I'm going to go over to Twitter real quick and just shout out everyone who has retweeted that link. It's at the top of the chat. If you want to give us a quick retweet, please do. It helps us out and I'll give you a shout out. Let's have a look. Let's have a little look-see. So we've got 6 retweets. Thank you so much, bro. 6 retweets. And it is from Matty Gwinnett, Feline Fur, Aaron Homeyard, MUFC, Vincent Bullock, and the Red Army Stand. Thank you so much, guys, for retweeting the show. You're a bunch of legends. Give us a follow on Flying Pig United on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, and Twitch. Right. Okay, so we've got new reports coming in that Richard Arnold faces the sack under the Qatari ownership as well. Arnold replaced Ed Woodward, of course. According to L'Equipe, Hassan Al-Tawadi and Nasser Al-Khater are being lined up to take the presidency of United if Qatar's bid is successful. So, there will be changes in regimes at United potentially depending on who comes in. So that's a point worth noting. I'm not that bothered. I personally think that Arnold is way better than, these tosspots Eddie Woodward. But so far anyway, it seems. But still, are they the right type of people? They're put in there by the Glazers, end of the day. Everybody who works for the Glazers, to some capacity, has to be a Glazer yes man. So I would not be against a change in regime in that area anyway, especially if it means that we, and we're going to spend, especially if it means we're going to invest in all areas and we need someone to oversee that. Let's talk about what the BBC has said latest. So from Simon Stone, he reported that United fans are waiting to see basically who has the bids on the table. There's a soft deadline submitting proposals for tonight at 10. They're considering selling the club and they're exploring strategic alternatives. There's been only one public declaration so far, which is from businessman Sir Jim Ratcliffe, who's one of Britain's richest men. He actually did publicly indicate, a representative of his said that they were interested in buying the football club and they're exploring the possibility of doing so. So we know for a fact that he's very interested in buying the football club, but there are massive reports, that Qatar are leading the way. There could be up to 5 parties trying to negotiate a full sale, with others looking to make a smaller investment in return for a partial take in the Old Trafford outfit. So that is what we do not want to happen. We need a full sale of this football club. The worst case would be, somebody comes in and buys 22% of the shares for $1 billion or something. That'd be awful. We don't want that. We don't want the Glazers to keep their stake. So we do have to think about that, because that might happen. So if you're the Glazers shithouses, you can get $5 billion for a full sale of the football club. But what if somebody's prepared to buy a chunk of the football club for a huge amount, which makes a lot of sense for you because you then get a shitload of money, but you also can spend money in the club which is not yours. So it's investment in the club, but then you've still got this massive controlling stake in the football club and you still have huge earning potential every single season. So I really hope that there's no offers on the table like that tempt the Glazers to keep the club, because you've got to look at it from this point of view. Yes, they might make a few billion this way, but what if they can make $1 billion and still milk Manchester United for years? That's what I'm concerned about. I really hope it's a full sale, and that's seemingly what's going to be the case. That's what's going to be the case, but we have to wait and see what's happening so far. So who's bid so far? Well, nobody's bid so far unless, Qataris are supposedly out of bid, actually. But these are just speculative reports. The deadline's today. We'll find out later. A Qatari bid essentially would look like this. So US-based Rain Group have put in charge finding new owners and investors. PSG President Nasser Al-Khelaifi is set to be a key figure in any Qatari ownership bid, even if he could have no direct involvement in the club. Qatar Sports Investment, QSI, headed by Al-Khelaifi, had been looking for a potential for taking a smaller stake in a Premier League club, which would be allowed under UEFA rules that prevent multi-club ownership. QSI has a minority stake in Portuguese side Braga. However, given QSI's ownership of PSG, which has no interest in selling, any Qatari move to United in its entirety would have to come through private individuals or a different organisation, which is where this other entity comes in, the QIA, which I was talking about earlier. This could potentially be the Qatar Investment Authority, a global investment platform that includes London department store Harrods and UK's largest building, the Shard, in its portfolio. Even that may require European governing body UEFA to change its rules on dual ownership, given it is felt by many that all Qatari funds are distributed from a central source. Al-Khelaifi could therefore be key in helping any bid proceed. So lots and lots of question marks, guys. Even if they did bid, it's not 100% known if they would be allowed to purchase the football club at this moment in time. So it's a bit of a strange one. Right, we're going to get into the live chat. Also, Saudi Arabian bidders supposedly interested in making a last-minute bid. Just more speculation there. So we'll see about that. Let's get into the live chat. You've heard me waffle on for a long time now. Let's see what you legends are saying about this whole situation. Let's get into the Q&A. Thanks everyone for being here. Please like, subscribe and comment, and now get in the chat. Luann France, what's going on, you legendess? How you doing? Welcome in. She says, good morning or afternoon. How are you doing there, Luann France? Hope you're well. Marty J, what's good, my son? He says, show me the money. Precisely. Piggy's financial report. Thank you, Marty J. I tried, mate. I'm no financial expert. It's a difficult situation. I'm just trying to give you more so the information that's already out there. Thank you, Berber. He says, like, subscribe. Thank you so much, Don Berber. We will know the bidders as United are on the stock market. Wouldn't they be obliged to make a public announcement about the offers? I don't think so, Pricey. They don't. It's like if you sell your house. You only know about it once somebody's bought it. I don't think you have to disclose all of the different bidders and all of the different amounts and all that sort of stuff. They can, once they've sold the club, yes, but they can choose who to sell it to and for how much, don't they? Can't they? I don't think it's a case of they have to disclose all that information to us. They may well do, though. We may well find out that there's a few different offers on the table, but I personally think we'll just hear who they've accepted. Chris Koo says, apparently Joel and Avron were seeking to buy the shares from their siblings, says Chris Koo. Disgraceful. What happens, Pig, if Qatar buy the club? Would we be able to buy players from PSG? Well, no, Vincent, as I was mentioning earlier, there's the QSI, then there's the QIA. The Qatar Sports Investment Group and the Qatar Investment Authority. They are state-funded, both of them are state-owned. One's a subsidiary of the other or something. It's confusing. But no, to answer your question, mate. No, that would not be the case. This is what they don't want. They don't want owners who have, multi-clubs essentially who can just, to easily do that. But if you think about Mbappe, like we mentioned, Mbappe should be a player we're interested in. Well, let's see. Some people don't like him. He's a prima donna, whatever. Smash a 1 if you would take Kylian Mbappe at the club, regardless of the money. Smash a 1 if you would have him. Smash a 2 if you wouldn't. I would have him in a heartbeat, guys. He's fucking quality. He's world class. That's who we need to win stuff, to be honest. We need a fucking world class striker. But anyway, look at this. So according to French outlet Le Parisien, nobody watches League One in Qatar. They only watch Messi, Neymar and Mbappe in the Champions League. The only championship that excites them is the Premier League. So if you were the owner of PSG, and you were the owner of Manchester United, and you prefer the Premier League, and you've just bought Manchester United, well, you probably could be forgiven for thinking that it's a good idea to put Kylian Mbappe over at Manchester United. You know what I mean? So it's a grey area. It's tricky. I don't really know the ins and outs of it, who owns what and how it all works, and if UEFA would allow any of that type of stuff. But it becomes a possibility, doesn't it, if we've got ambitious owners who don't necessarily like League One as much as the Premier League. So there you go. Give them Rashford and McTominay for 100 million from Mbappe. No chance, Berber. Go and wash your fingers, my son, for that dirty comment, lad. Rashford, give Rashford away. Don't be ridiculous. Don't be ridiculous, mate. You've got to give up this Rashford agenda, mate. He's fucking our best player this season, mate. The guy's absolutely mean. Come on, just take a step back, admit you were wrong, and admit he's back on track and he's a fucking lad. Just admit it, and then we can all move on. He's fucking awesome, mate. Come on. He scored 20-odd goals this season for us, dude. No, Toast says, as long as you're banging in 20-plus goals and 10 assists, be whichever Donna you want. Be a Donna Kebab for all I care, says No Toast. The lad's on fire, says Roy. He's one of our own. He's Mank born and bred, Em. As well, he's Mank born and bred. Gungshi's loving it. Ronnie Dodge, thank you for the £2 super chat, mate. Come on. He says, after that game, you hope Frankie changes his mind now. Ronnie Dodge, do you? Well, do you know what? I hope Frankie de Jong does one, because I don't think he is all that we need. Now, in all fairness, if that's who Ten Hag wants, I'm all for it. I really am. And I know he's a class player, actually. Statistically, this season, he's having a very good season. De Jong is a quality player, mate, and he's in his prime. So I would not turn it down, Ronnie Dodge. But I'm not bothered about him either, to be fair, Ronnie Dodge. He says, after that game, hope Frankie changes his mind. Fair play to you, my son. Do you want Frankie de Jong at United, guys? Yes or no? I'd rather we went and got Bellingham. Honestly, we've got Casemiro, we've got Eriksen. I'd rather we went and got Bellingham for now and the future, like he's... But no, fair enough, though. I mean, he's a great player, Frankie de Jong. Thank you, Ronnie. Mbappe and Rashford together, says Alex Flames. Geewolf United with a £10 super chat. You what? Geewolf, thank you so much for the raw tenner, lad. Let's get some seeds in there. Thank you very much, Geewolf, man. He says, see, I don't care what owners come in. All I care about is Glazers fuck off the horse they came in on. And we are debt-free. And money is available for transfers, and that's it. Yeah, no, that's a great point, Geewolf United. I'm with you, bud. Guys, let's get some love hearts in there for Geewolf. Thank you so much for the £10 super chat, dude. You don't care what owners comes in. All you care about is the Glazers fuck off on the horse they came in on. Yeah, I more or less feel the same. Whichever of these owners we're talking about, Sir Jim, Qatari owners, Saudi Arabian owners, Elon Musk, Apple, Disney, American owners, Singaporean, whoever it is, if they're prepared to buy the club with the winning bid, then they've got a lot of money. If they can buy it for £5 billion outright, then they've got what we need, I think, to oversee the club. We don't need huge investment. We need a lot of investment, but we don't need huge investment every year like Man City did. Because Man City are just a paper club with no real generation of funds, no real fan base. Certainly 10 years ago that was the case. So, Man United, on the other hand, it's a completely different animal. So I'm with you there, Geewolf man. Doesn't really matter who. Just want to see these Glazers shithouses go, to be fair. Geewolf, you're a legend, my son. Thank you so much for that, dude. I hope you're doing well today, by the way. Dude, the Cake Cadet says, Frankie had his chance last summer, Pig, says the Cake Cadet. Yeah, but did he really, though, Cake Cadet? I don't think that's necessarily down to the player. He could have walked and left loads of money on the table which he was owed. Who in their right mind would do that? Do you know what I mean? If you work in a bank, at Lloyd's TSB, say, and you've got a Christmas bonus due coming, and it's a good Christmas bonus, would you go and leave to go and join Barclays and just give up your Christmas bonus when you could stay a bit longer and get paid your Christmas bonus and then go and join Barclays? Do you know what I mean? Like, it does depend on the situation. Like, he was owed a lot of money. From his point of view, he was happy at Barca as well. I think if they were prepared to sell him properly, then then I would still be interested in taking him. But fair enough, though. I mean, we don't need him. Hope you're doing well, says Com Garrity. Thank you, Com. I'm doing much better now. Focus to that. He's had his chance, says Roy the Boy. Andy Bell says, news in this channel will be banned under the new owners due to references to pork. Andy Bell, there's nothing wrong with saying flying pig, is there? We're celebrating the animal of the pig, mate. Do you know what I mean? This is what I just want to reiterate. Flying Pig United, we celebrate pigs around here, mate. Do you know what I'm saying? Personally, I'm worried about the new owners wouldn't be in for the summer window, says Tom. I think they will be, but it's a good point you make. It is a concern that they wouldn't be. But if, let's say, these offers are on the table by 10 p.m. tonight, it takes a couple of months to oversee the sale, takes us up to mid-April, I don't see why that wouldn't be the case. In fact, I would argue that it could be done a lot quicker than that. Just look at what happened with Chelsea. Now, I know Roman Abramovich kind of had to cut and shut pretty fucking quick out of there because of what was going on with Russia and Ukraine and all that business. And he was essentially has all his assets frozen. They were going to take the football club off him and all this stuff. So it's a little bit different. But those offers came in very quick, and the actual change of the club happened in a matter of a couple of weeks. So I don't see what the hold-up would be as long as there's, as long as there is serious offers on the table. April minimum, says Alex Flames. Would you keep Old Trafford and modernise or expand or build a new stadium, new training ground, says Steve H. I would just modernise, man. I would revamp it. I would rebuild certain parts of it. I think there's so much character and history at United, at Old Trafford. I wouldn't want to see it demolished and rebuilt as New Trafford or something. I honestly wouldn't. I like the fact that it's just got that history and it's, and the look of it is iconic as well. Like the look of it. Like, okay, a couple of the stands, knock them down and rebuild them. But there is definitely a very, iconic look of Manchester United. It just needs bringing into the modern era. Like Ronaldo was saying, there's people working out on fucking those bloody, those Iron Horse gym equipment that they had on the Titanic in 1912. You know what I mean? What are they called, guys? The camel. What's that machine called? The camel horse or something. I don't know. Some old piece of workout equipment that was on the Titanic they used in the fucking early 1900s. That's the sort of shit we've got in our gym at Old Trafford. And there's no showers and the fax machines on the brink from the 80s. We've got a bloody Brother printer. The printer is manufactured by Brother. For fuck's sake. It's old school. We've literally, the infrastructure at Man United is ran on Amstrad computers. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's a long time. It's a long time since we've upgraded anything at United. So that needs to be sorted out. Geewolf United Gaming says, to me, they taste the same as an actual burger. What's that, Geewolf? A pummel horse? No, not a pummel horse. That's not what I meant, actually. I know we still got pummel horses now. Hang on, I'm going to have to Google it. Titanic workout equipment camel. Let me put that in and it should pop up. The electric camel. That's what it is, guys. The electric camel was an exercise riding machine in the gymnasium that mimicked the gait of a camel. Fucking hell. Can see why that one didn't stick around. You know what I mean? It was a fad. Jim Watkins says, hey pig, don't bag the printer, leave it alone. Old school's the best. Now, fair enough. Okay, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But I think a lot of stuff does need fixing. Palmaris says, Ten Hag on United Takeover talk. Quote, we are following it. It's our club. And of course, we're committed, but we're focusing on football, on training and our way of play and games. We are focusing on that. Big respect from Ten Hag there. What a legend. Camel Piggy, you're mad ting, says Roy the Boy. Geewolf says, have you eaten a vegan burger? They taste the same to me as an actual burger. I have, Geewolf, and I can honestly say I've never had anything vegan which tastes remotely anywhere near a real burger. Even one of those like Burger King Impossible burgers. The only thing impossible about that is how they can sell it as tasting like an actual burger. To me, I think it's easy to tell them apart, but you know, maybe I should do a blind taste test. Con Garrity says, Flying Camel United. Tom says they probably still have those big rubber band machines that are supposed to get rid of belly fat, like a fucking belt. Yeah. Neil Driscoll comments, sorry, Piggy, you would knock Old Trafford down and build a new stadium. Well, fair enough, Neil. Yeah, no, fair enough. I mean, I would say it needs about a 60% renovation. But why can't we keep, you know, the character, the heart? Why can't we do that? Try the meatless Rustlers burger, says Geewolf United. Oh, okay, well, fair enough. Well, that's probably why the meatless Rustlers burger tastes like the meat one. Because the actual meat Rustlers burger doesn't taste like a meat burger, mate. Come on, Geewolf. Team Wolves is not going to lie, the McDonald's McPlant burger's very nice. I haven't tried that, to be honest. Simpson says, I'd rather eat folded cardboard than a vegan burger. Why are we talking about vegan burgers, for fuck's sake, guys? What's going on? You got one chance here, guys, to talk about United, this takeover. You talk about Ponson vegan burgers, for Pete's sake. What's going on, man? Tom says, I'd love to see Old Trafford become 100k seater. The biggest club in the world deserves the biggest stadium. So true, Tom. Yes, I agree. You've not had meat since December, did Veganuary, and kept on going. Oh, fair play to you, Berber, lad. That's bold, lad. Fair play. Can't wait to win a cup next weekend. Go on, Chrissy J. Thank you, Jim Watkins. Love you too, bro. Vegan kebabs. Wow. Right, guys, I'm going to wrap this video up anyway. Just realised how long we've been going. 1 hour, 21 minutes. That's enough. So we're going to leave it there, guys. But thank you, every one of you, for tuning in and getting your thoughts and opinions in. Come back after this video is finished. Get your thoughts and opinions in the not live comment section. We want to hear from you. Come in and have your say, guys, on the new owners, on the sale, all that kind of stuff. Come back after it's finished and get your comments in the not live comments. Thank you, Notos and Sanili Madala, Roy the Boy, Jim, Sanili, Berber, Geewolf, all the mods like Gungshi, Berber, everyone. Thanks for moderating the chat. Thank you to all the members of the channel in green for supporting the channel. Tom, Roy the Boy, Kate Cadet, etc. And everyone else chatting. Pete Morris, Scoojo1 and everyone. Thank you so much, guys, for getting in here, having your say. Cheers, Andy Bell. Thank you, Andy Bell. Thanks for becoming a member as well. And Neil Driscoll, Vincent Bullock as well. Thank you, Vincent, for retweeting the show and helping us spread the word. Come to Portugal in August. We'll see. Chris Koo, Notos, everyone, thank you for being here. That's the end of the show. There's the latest. I will be doing a video later, guys, to keep you up to date with what's happening. The deadline's supposedly at 10. I don't know if we'll find out all that much information by then, but certainly we can come on and have a little late night Q&A and a discussion, probably around about 9:30, 10. So I'll jump on later on tonight. I might even do a cheeky little FIFA stream tonight as well. We'll see. Might be on the other channel, though, Flying Pig Gaming. So go and check that channel out, Flying Pig Gaming. If you want to watch FIFA with us a bit later, I might do a 6 p.m. update stream. Feeling better today, guys, and I need to get bang on it. Gungshi, thank you so much, Don Gungshi. Jim Watkins as well. Roy the Boy, Kate Cadet, Chris Koo. Everyone, that's it from me. You can follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, and Twitch at Flying Pig United. Check out the website, flyingpigunited.com. And I'll catch you very, very soon, guys. I'll keep you up to date with all the latest news on United in a no bullshit, no clickbait way. So stay locked. Click that bell for notifications, and that way you won't miss a thing. Cheers, guys. Much love to the Mighty Hamada, the Bacon Brigade, the Sausage Soldiers, and I'll see you on the next one, guys. Come on, United! Hashtag Glazers out. Finally, these toss pieces could be gone. Let's rain down some green and gold emojis in the live chat and some hashtag Glazers out to end this stream. Good day, guys. Catch you soon. Thanks so much for watching. Piggy loves you. And remember, when the seagulls follow the trawler, as this is because they sing, sardines will be thrown into the sea. Thank you very much.